So here's a pickup I had from Facebook Marketplace. This one was kind of a weird one because there was actually a sale posted that was going to be on the weekend, and I mentioned video games, so I messaged them about it. Usually I don't message people about those early, but I was curious about what they had, and I also had to ask the time because I wasn't sure what time they were going to open. But this one, I went ahead and messaged them, and we got to talking about the stuff, and they mentioned some of the stuff they had, and so I went to go check it out. As you can see here, I picked up quite a bit. Some good stuff here. I did pay up a little. When I got to the place, I actually realized this is a place I'd been before. I think they sell online and have garage sales pretty regularly because I had bought like a Wii bundle there, where I had bought like a Wii and a whole bunch of controllers and a whole bunch of games. It was actually a pretty good bundle that got me a lot of my Wii collection. After looking around, I decided they had a Game Gear bundle, a DS bundle with a bunch of games, and then he also found this Dreamcast stuff and one N64 game. We kind of settled on 70 as the total. So like I said, I paid a little more than I normally would want to. In the end, it turned out pretty good. I mean, the games, there's definitely quite a few games. No crazy titles in there, but some decent stuff. The Dreamcast was actually a nice surprise because I didn't even know he had any until he brought it out. So let me go over those real quick. Here in the back you can actually see a bunch of Game Gear cases, and there's some DS. It was all in that, so I just took everything out. And also, the Game Gear came in a nice Sega Game Gear little bag here. Pretty nice. Not sure if I'm going to keep all that. The Game Gear I'll go ahead and talk about. It's a nice blue one. Well, unfortunately, it does not work. The guy didn't sound too sure if he knew if it worked, but he was pretty sure it did. It turns on, but it has I tested all the games. I cleaned them, but it has the issue where it has lines across the screen. So, which is a bummer. But Game Gears, I know that most of the time they don't work, so I did take a risk on that. That's what you do. Sometimes you take a risk, and that goes to show that I don't always win too. Sometimes I buy stuff and it's broken, and kind of a bummer. But I think I might try to figure out how to fix Game Gears. I actually have two other Game Gears that have a similar problem, where they turn on but the screen doesn't display properly. So I think that I have 3 now that I can try to fix. But there were 5 games here. World Series Baseball, Ren and Stimpy Quest for the Shaven Yak, funny one. Miss Pac-Man, Echo the Dolphin, and Aladdin. And it did also have all the manuals for them. I think here's a little Sega guide and Aladdin and Pac-Man. So nice little addition to have the manuals in there. So that was the Sega Game Gear lot. The Nintendo DS lot. It's a nice white DS here. This one's it's pretty clean, and it's got the thing at the bottom, the cover for the Game Boy Advance, and has the stylus and all that. But works just fine. No problems there. Let me go over the games here. Nothing too crazy here. Fossil Fighters, Call of Duty World at War, Winx Magical Fairy Party, Little League World Series Baseball, Despicable Me, SpongeBob Atlantis SquarePants, Backyard Baseball, Cats and Dogs, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, Madden 09, Lego Indiana Jones, Star Wars Battlefront Elite Squadron. It's kind of interesting. Battlefront playoff But like, I'm not really sure how that's going to work on a DS, but it might be interesting to see. Fantasy All-Stars. And Mario Kart DS. It's a pretty good one. And Flash Focus. So, yeah. Like I said, nothing too crazy, but he was just selling it as a lot, so I just took him as part of it. One N64 game he pulled out, Army Men Sarge's Heroes. I need it for my collection, so I just threw it in with everything. The Dreamcast stuff is pretty interesting. It's Sega Smash Pack Volume 1. And this has Sonic, Golden Axe, Shining Force. That's cool. Future Edge 2, Phantasy Star 2. There's some really good games on there, actually. That's pretty awesome. Dreamcast is still a system I don't have yet, but at this point I have maybe like 5 or 6 games for it, so pretty cool. I'll be kind of ready for it once I have one. Quake 3 Arena. Interesting one. And these 2 disc-only games were inside of that. He knew that though, but for whatever reason, they were just included. And Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. So that's pretty cool. This one actually, I think, is worth a little bit on Dreamcast for whatever reason. But yeah. So that was basically it for that pickup. You know, there was 2 DS chargers, some styluses, Sega card charger for the Game Gear. But it was a nice little pickup. Next pickup here is from Saturday. Went out again, just up north. Went to some new places that I hadn't been to before, around Terre Haute, Indiana, places like that. Just looking. I'm still on my path to try to go to cities and kind of catalog in a way, like go to a pawn shop. It looks like it's a pretty good source. I'll mark it down on my Google Maps as, oh, this is a good source. Or if it's, a bad source that has barely any games or they're super expensive, I'll mark it as a bad source. Anyways, as you can see, I did pretty good. Went to pawn shops and a few flea markets actually and found some good pickups. So let me get started here with the pawn shop pickups. The first 2 I had were just a pawn shop that had a decent selection, but they had good prices, $3 a piece or 2 for $5 on anything like pre-PS4. So I picked up a copy of Xena Warrior Princess. And this one actually, I was interested to see that this isn't the same Xena that's on N64. I don't know if maybe there is a copy for PS1, but the other one is a fighting game, but this one looks more like a adventure type game from what I can see. Yeah, 7 worlds with sub-levels, so kind of interesting. Definitely happy to add a lot to my PS1 this time around. PS2, I picked up the Ant Bully. Just another game I didn't have. A movie tie-in. Oh, but guys, it's got the movie ticket right there. I can go see the Ant Bully now. Really excited for that. The stack on the left side here was all from one pawn shop. This one I did pay up a little from what I normally do, but I got some good titles. They have some really high prices on their games, so I was kind of surprised. Even their older stuff, they had like $10, $13 in some of them. But I asked them if they would willing to do a deal, so they took a few dollars off of each item. Still kind of expensive from, like I said, like I normally pay like $2 to $3 for PS1, PS2, but not too horrible. And I got some good titles, like I said, so happy about that. Need for Speed, Portion Unleashed, PS1. Centipede. They had these, even stuff like Centipede priced at like $8. Space Invaders. Good pickup. Spec Ops Stealth Patrol. PS1 has a lot of these Spec Ops games. I think I have 4 of them now. I don't know if that's all of them, but there's quite a few. Manhunt 2. It's a unique one to find. Ultimate Spider-Man. Has definitely the cartoon look on it. I'm very happy about Time Crisis 3. Love the Time Crisis. I just picked up Time Crisis 2 a few months ago. Legacy of Kain Defiance. Yep. There. And an interesting one, Draken the Ancient Gate. I hadn't seen this one before. It does kind of has like a Drakengard look to it on the back there. Like it has some, you know, hand-to-hand combat, and then it's also some on a dragon combat. So interesting to see. This one, unfortunately, is disc only, but that's all right. So yeah, that I should say I paid $40 for that stack. This one had, I think it was the same brand as the other one, so I was surprised that they had $2 on all their PS2, PS1, Xbox 360, and Xbox games. So, which is kind of what I expect for pawn shops most of the time, that they have a flat price. For the PlayStation, I picked up Risk. That was 2. And Roadkill, 2 as well. So, very nice. Those. From that same pawn shop, I was actually very surprised to see in the case a Star Wars Rogue Squadron box, and it did have the game in it as well. I'll grab that out real quick. Pretty good condition, and the price, you can see, $5. I was actually very surprised because I saw it in there with the rest of their N64 stuff that was really expensive, and I saw the 5 and I was like, oh well, that's probably just the box only. And I was surprised when they pulled it out for me. They had the game in it. You know, I realized Rogue Squadron isn't really like a super expensive game, but still very cool to find a box and get it for cheap. You know, it is. I'll show a little bit of detail. It is pretty crushed on the top. It's got some frayed edges, but not too bad overall. It's not like ripped or torn. You can definitely still see the back and the front, so I'm very happy to add that to the collection. So for $5 especially, it's good stuff. Okay, continuing on, here's the Flea Market pickups. So these were all from flea markets I went to. Not a ton of pickups, but some really good ones actually. I was pretty surprised. The first one I went to, didn't find too much, but I did find a random RC Pro-Am, 50 cents. I already have it, but I think this might be a condition upgrade, and 50 cents for NES game, why not? Figured it was a good idea. This is kind of an interesting one. I found one of the VHS. This one's for Rayman 2 exclusive look. It's got the side with Tonic Trouble on it. But yeah, so it's got Tonic Trouble, Rayman 2, Rocket, Robot on Wheels, and Rayman the Animated Series, I guess, as well. So kind of cool. I don't know if I'll collect these, but I definitely remember having the Donkey Kong Country one. I think that's one you always see anyway. So $1, I picked it up. Pretty cool. Okay, the next stack was from a flea market that I've been to a few times, and it's actually a really good resource because for whatever reason they have a lot of like vendors that sell, you know, more nerdy stuff like figures and pops and like magic cards and also video games. So I keep finding stuff when I go back there, so it seems like they actually put out their inventory or change it up every so often. So there I bought a copy of Hey You Pikachu, a little faded. That was $4. Mile and Secret Castle for $5. This is a cool one. Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai. Very cool. I was excited to see that. That was $6, but paid up a little bit. It's very cool. Midway's Greatest Hits, our Atari Collection one. That was only $2. That's the kind of thing that I love seeing there because, you know, it's a common game, so it's not worth a lot, but that's cool to me because I want it for my collection. $2 is a great price. This is a weird looking one. Largo Winch Commander Star. Commando Star, I should say. $4 on that one. Interesting looking game. And Beyblade. Also $4. So yeah, that was it from that one. A lot of good games from that. So the last set is probably the best of the bunch, just because of GameCube stuff. I was surprised to see. The Star Wars box is cool, but this is very surprising, especially because this was another flea market I had been to before. Kind of wrote off as, I remember going to it and I was like, this one's not that great. But I walked around anyway. I'm glad I did because I found a few cool things. First thing being a copy of Resident Evil 4 for $1 on Gamecube, and this baby's complete. Very surprised to see that. I expected it to be completely empty when I opened it, and I did test it too, and it worked fine. Very surprising to find that for $1. And this one I almost missed because it was like in the bottom of a bookshelf, and it's already kind of hard to see on the spine, and the GameCube label is covered up by a GameStop price tag, so I barely caught the Resident Evil. I was like, oh, very cool. And continuing the GameCube stuff, there's a copy of Mario Party 5 in like a Blu-ray case. Tested it, also works. Very surprised by that. I figured it was in a random bin of like $1 things, like cell phone cases and little knickknacks and stuff. So when I saw that there in the Blu-ray case, I was like, well, that surely someone threw that in there because it's a broken game for $1. But put it in my GameCube and it works, so pretty happy about that. I actually was thinking I was cursed because for GameCube I actually have Mario Party 6, a full copy that I bought at a garage sale for 50 cents, and it won't play. I don't know what's wrong with it because it doesn't look like it's scratched on the top. I've resurfaced it, but it will not play no matter what I do. So that sucks, and then I also have a copy of Mario Party 7 that I picked up as a part of a Wii bundle, disc only, but that also will not play. It does the thing where it loads to the first screen on the GameCube, and then it gives an error like, cannot read disc error. So I was starting to think, oh no, I'm gonna curse to only find Mario Parties that are broken. But very happy that Mario Party 5 works. Just a cool little addition. And the last thing I found was a copy of Extreme G Racing, I should say. And that was only $2, so I picked that up as well. But yeah, very cool. So yeah, that was it for Saturday. Even without garage sales and outdoor flea markets that, I've done pretty well at this year, I'm still able to go and find stuff by going to these pawn shops and thrift stores and flea markets in these towns that I haven't been to, because there's stuff to find.